So, as you can see behind me, this is my M4 Mac Mini desk setup. And I've curated a list of a bunch of different accessories from the must-haves to some more unique ones like magnetic chargers and basketball hoop 3-in-1 chargers, as well as some hidden Bluetooth speakers that are in here. So, without further ado, let's talk about my favorite desk setup accessories for my M4 Mac Mini, and whether you're somebody that's just looking for one more accessories to finalize your desk setup, or you just need some inspiration because you're going to completely revamp what you have going on, let's get into it. So I do want to mention that everything in this video will be listed down in the description below in order that I do talk about it, as well as I'll do my best to put a price point or the latest price point of every single one of these accessories in the actual screen itself, probably on the bottom left or bottom right. So to start off, I'm dealing with the baseline version of the M4 Mac Mini, which I personally paid $549 for because on Amazon right now it is $50 off. And if you really want to, you can go through the Apple Education Store and get it for $499 if you do have a .edu email or your professor or anything of that nature. So again, the price to performance ratio, and I have a bunch of videos talking about the M4 Mac Mini already, but I did want to reiterate which one I personally have, which is a 16 gigs of unified memory, as well as 256 gigs of baseline storage, and it's been more than enough for my personal day-to-day use in what I use the M4 Mac Mini for. So again, that is what's powering this entire desk setup. And now we all know that with the M4 Mac Mini, yes, it's a great price to performance computer, but in the box you literally get nothing but the Mac Mini and a power cable, so you do need some peripherals. And to start off with, let's go with the actual monitor that I have behind me, and that is the BenQ PD3225U, and it's a purpose-built monitor that is made for Mac computers, which is what I love about it. It is a single cable solution. It is a 4K IPS panel, which gives you the best color accuracy from a non-first-party Apple product in my opinion, and for $900, I think it's a no-brainer for what you're getting out of it. Of course, there are cheaper monitors out there, which I will list some down below for you guys to check out, but if you are somebody that's looking for a studio display type of quality monitor, then this one is one that you would definitely consider, because at that point, you're already thinking about spending $1,600, whereas this one, it's $700 less, and it gets you about 99% of the way there, in my personal opinion. It has built-in speakers, it has all the I/O that you would need, from HDMI ports to Thunderbolt 3 ports to display ports to USB-A and USB-C, both on the rear and on the side as well. Has great color accuracy, like I mentioned earlier, and even has something called an M-Book mode, which helps replicate the exact colors that are on, let's say, something like your MacBook Pro as a single cable solution to then output to this BenQ monitor. So if you're looking for a high-quality 4K monitor to pair up with your Mac Mini, this is definitely one to take a look at. And now, of course, if you saw my setup video, the three things that you're definitely going to need when it comes to the Mac Mini is going to be a monitor, as well as a keyboard and some sort of mouse, because without those things, you actually cannot complete the setup process, of course. So the keyboard that I have is actually by Satechi, and it's their SM1, which is their low profile and small mechanical keyboard. Now, somebody who's not a big mechanical keyboard person, I'm big into the chiclet style. I love the Magic Keyboard, and I love Satechi's X1 Slim as well, which is essentially just a Magic Keyboard from Apple without Touch ID. But this one is one that I've been giving a try over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I've actually grown to love it because it's kind of that perfect middle ground between a mechanical keyboard as well as kind of the flat style, chiclet style keyboard, because it's not too big, it's not too loud, and it's easy to get used to, especially for somebody who isn't used to that high key travel of a mechanical keyboard. So if you are looking for a low profile mechanical keyboard that gives you the best of both worlds in my opinion, from portability and thinness to also giving you that clicking and that clacking that you get from a mechanical keyboard, this one by Satechi is a great option to go with. And of course, it is Bluetooth, it charges via USB-C, you can connect up to 3 different devices, and it's just very self-explanatory and easy to use, and it comes in 2 awesome colorways, with me going with the white and gray colorway, and they also have a kind of matte black one, which I think looks awesome. And then to continue on with the peripherals, I'm going to keep going with this one, which is the Logitech Anywhere S2, and what I always tell people about this Logitech Anywhere S series is that it's probably the cheapest way that you can get to get a high quality mouse, because it feels great in the hand, it still feels heavy enough so it doesn't feel like it's made out of cheap plastic, it connects up to 3 different devices, you can also charge it via USB-C, at least the new one. The one I have charges via micro USB because it's a little bit older. And again, just from a longevity standpoint, I've had this version for 7 years, and I've used it pretty much every single workday for those 7 years. The battery's still great, it still works fantastically, it still connects up to 3 different devices, works with my iPad, works with my Mac Mini, and zero issues ever with this mouse. Now I do quickly want to talk about the desk and the chair, because obviously you need these for a desk setup, but there's an abundance of different options out there for you to go with, whether you're on a budget or you want the best of the best and budget isn't an issue. But the desk itself is by FlexiSpot. I love FlexiSpot because again, it goes to that same light of the Mac Mini of the best price to performance ratio you can get for a sit-stand smart desk. The one that I have is the Odin, which I believe is around $700 to $800. So it is a little bit on the higher end, but they do have the little brother, which is also the 4-legged version of the FlexiSpot desk, which is something that I do recommend. Having the 2-legged version is still more than fine, but if you have 4 legs, it's just way more stable, especially at that top height when you are using it as a standing desk. So right now, I believe the FlexiSpot's little brother is only $250 on Amazon, and this one I will also link down below for you guys to check out. But the one thing I will recommend is that if you have the option to go with 4 legs versus 2 legs, always opt to go with the 4 legs because it'll just be a lot more stable. And then from a chair standpoint, the one that I'm currently sitting on is the Sihoo Doro S300, I believe it's called. Fantastic chair. It's up there to compete with the likes of Erman Miller because it's so comfortable. It's got lumbar support. You can customize it in so many different ways, from the armrest to the tilt sensitivity to moving it side to side to, again, even like I mentioned, the lumbar support, the neck support, and it's just kind of like a cloud that you're sitting on, to be totally honest. I will say it is a heavy chair for what it is, so if you are on carpet, which is what I am on, it is a little tedious to move around, but once you're sitting on it, it is very comfortable. And then another chair that I do want to recommend is a lot more of a budget-friendly chair, but checks off a lot more boxes than you think it would. And this one's by ProtoArc. It is their Ergo chair. I believe it's $160 right now, and it looks like it's a chair that maybe it's $600, $700, even $800 because of the way that it looks, the build materials, and the overall quality. And again, for the price difference that you have from this chair to the ProtoArc chair, you're not really losing much of anything. Yes, you are losing a little bit of the customizations in terms of how much you can tilt it, what that customization looks like, how much the arms move and things like that. But for $160 compared to $800 with this chair, it's an absolute no-brainer, and it's extremely light, so if you are on carpet, it's much easier to move it around. Okay, so now that we have the mainstays out of the way, right, we got the monitor, we got the keyboard, the mouse, the desk, the chair. And now let's get into the other peripherals that are a little bit more on the customizable front and are just a lot more fun to talk about. So the first one I'm going to mention is going to be some sort of external SSD, because the Mac Mini comes with 256 gigs of storage built into it. You can get up to Thunderbolt 5 speeds when it comes to external storage, so as long as you get the correct SSD and you get a fast enough SSD, for the most part you're not going to be losing much of anything if you go with external SSDs. So the two that I'm going to recommend is a Lexar SSD as well as the new Samsung T9 or the T7. The only main things you're going to have to look for here is the price to actual storage ratio, so what's it going to be worth to get a 1, 2, or 4 terabyte SSD. And then secondly, it's going to be the transfer speeds. So for Samsung, the 2 terabyte one is about $170, which is great for that price point, because again, if you were to go to 2 terabytes built into the M4 Mac Mini, I think you would almost triple the price of the Mac Mini, which is absolutely absurd. So plugging this into the Thunderbolt 4 port on the rear, or even the USB 3 port on the front of the actual Mac Mini, it's going to be more than fast enough to get those speeds done and to move your data around whenever you see fit. Then you have the Lexar one, which is a little bit more expensive at $200 for the same 2 terabytes, but it does have faster read and write speed. So depending on what your use cases are, both for me are more than good enough to transfer the data that I'm transferring from my iPhone to my Mac Mini and to my iPad and vice versa. But if you need the fastest transfer speeds, then yes, obviously go through Lexar. If you're okay with getting a little bit slower, and again, it's only a little bit slower, then save the $40 and go with the Samsung version. So I know some people are wondering what is under my BenQ monitor, because I have the monitor risers by Grovemade, which I will leave the link down below as well, which I do love from a kind of organization standpoint, but sitting on top of there perfectly is a BlueAnt sound blade. Now this sound blade was purpose built from a form factor to fit right underneath your iMac, as well as even have your iMac sitting on top of it. They even have all the same colors as the iMacs for you to color match your iMac alongside the sound blade speaker. And what I love about this is that it just truly enhances the sound quality that you have at your desk. And what blew me away was just this overall sound quality in the size and the footprint, because it's super loud, the bass gets extremely bassy because the subwoofers are pointed down, so they're kind of almost shaking the entire desk, but in a good way, not to the point where it's like rattling things, but to the point where you're kind of feeling it on your arms when you are listening to music and when you are listening to whatever you need to listen to. So this one is very sleek, it's subtle when you want it to be, unless you get one of those brighter colors. It connects via Bluetooth, it connects via USB-C, it connects via 3.5mm jack, so there's multiple ways to connect it. The way that I have it connected is via USB-C directly to the rear of my Mac Mini, so that way I don't have to worry about any latency or Bluetooth connectivity or anything like that. But if I do want to connect it via Bluetooth on my iPhone or my iMac, I can definitely do that as well. So this one by Soundblade, and I believe right now it's 25% off if you guys want to check that out. So if you guys are looking for a desk speaker that's kind of hidden and sleek, but still packs a punch of maybe 2 side speakers or stereo speakers, definitely check this one out. Now, I'm also a big fan of desk mats. I feel like I've always had one in my desk setup, so I'm never just using the keyboard and the mouse directly on the desk itself, because I want to protect the desk. It also just doesn't feel good when you're not using a desk mat. So this one is going to be a 2-in-1 kind of modular magnetic charging desk mat, which I've been using for a long time because I love everything about this thing, right? first of all, like I said, it is a 2-in-1 charger. So on the left-hand side, there is a strip that connects via USB-C cable that gives you a MagSafe cup as well as a wireless charger for your AirPods Pro or any other wireless headphones that do charge, again, via Qi charging. So this is going to give you, this particular model gives you 7.5 watts of charging on the MagSafe and then 5 watts on the wireless charger. There are now Qi 2 certified ones as well as MagSafe certified ones if you want to check those out, which I'll link down below. But this strip is actually magnetically attached to the desk mat itself, and the desk mat is also multifaceted and it's also a 2-in-1 because A, it's got that vegan leather on one side and then you can flip it over and it's got this beautiful felt fabric that can also be used as your desk mat, but then not only that, you can actually open it up in between them to slide in maybe brochures or loose papers, or as you can see here I have some birthday cards that I've saved that just kind of lay flat and live in between both of those desk mats. And again, you can connect this magnetically, you can move it side to side. If you're a righty, you can keep it on the left. If you're a lefty, you can move it to the right. It's very easy to use, very modular, and just high quality and well made. And again, it just gives you so many multifunctional solutions in one product, which is something that I absolutely love. So it's a MagSafe charger, a wireless charger, 2 different desk mats, and a little storage for loose leaf papers. It's a no-brainer to me. And then that same charging light, I wanted to mention this one because it's super fun, especially for people who are basketball fans. So Kuxiu makes their X85 3-in-1 charger, and they've made it in the form factor of a basketball hoop, which I think is really fun. It brings even 2 little plastic basketballs, there's a hoop on there, so you can literally shoot the ball in there, which is where your iPhone will magnetically attach. And even that little basketball hoop, they thought of everything because that basketball hoop also magnetically detaches to make sure that obviously it's not in the way when you are charging your iPhone. Because on the surface, it is a 3-in-1 charger that charges your iPhone, your AirPods, and your Apple Watch, but when it's not in use, or maybe you're only using the Apple Watch charger or the bottom charger, you can then kind of put the little hoop on there, magnetically attach it, and shoot a cool basketball hoops, which I think is an awesome little gift for anybody that's big into basketball, which I definitely am. And then underneath my Grove-made desk monitor stand, you might see a little pink kind of holder down there, as well as a cable. And this is my kind of 2-in-1 solution here for when it comes to charging, let's say something like my keyboard, as well as my mouse. So firstly, this is a Smartish cable organizer. So it's kind of just almost like a paperweight essentially with a magnet on top of it. And it brings a bunch of little magnetic latches that you put around your cable so you can never actually lose it. Because normally cables get kind of taken behind and you could lose it, especially if you have a ton of cables like I do underneath this desk. So making sure that it doesn't get like drawn back or pulled back by accident by keeping it on the Smartish cable organizer for me is awesome. And as you can see with this cable particularly, there is actually no cable at the end of it because it only has pin connectors. And the reason it has pin connectors is because it magnetically attaches to the other end, which is going to be that USB-C, Lightning, or micro USB cable end, which is awesome, especially for my setup because like I mentioned, my Logitech mouse is a micro USB to charge. And again, we're in 2024, almost 2025, so finding a micro USB-C cable around my house has always been difficult. So the fact that I can literally just plug in that little end into my Logitech Anywhere mouse and then magnetically charge it whenever I need to, which is only about a couple times a year, this is an awesome little solution that I put together for myself where, again, I don't have to worry about finding a micro USB-C cable. If I do need to charge it, it just magnetically attaches. So that cable is used just to purely charge my peripherals whenever I do need it. And then lastly, I do have my Sonos Ace on the left-hand side, being held up by my Johan headphone stand, which I absolutely love. So whenever I do want to kind of hone in and put headphones on, I'm always going to my Sonos Ace. They're my favorite over-ear headphones as of right now, even after Apple released their new AirPods Max. But that is my Mac Mini desk setup, everybody. As I mentioned, everything will be linked down below for you guys to check out. Everything that I've kind of curated here and put together has been from my personal liking, and it kind of helps elevate my desk setup. So when I do sit down, I'm excited, I'm ready to go, and I like everything that I have going with it. Everything stays charged at all times. Everything is grab and go. There's some modularity to it. There's some fun, unique items. There's the necessary items. And I've kind of put this together over the last couple years and I've been very happy with it. So I'm not saying go out and buy everything at once unless that's exactly what you're doing and you have the budget to do so, but also pick and choose some of these different items and let me know which one your favorite is that maybe you'll pick up to really complete what you have going on with your desk setup. And of course, this isn't just for the Mac Mini. This will work for pretty much any desk setup moving forward. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And as I mentioned, leave a comment down below of your favorite tech accessory item, and maybe, just maybe, we'll do a little giveaway on Twitter or something like that. But that'll do it. If you do want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out, everybody. Peace. Happy Mac Mini Accessory Day, everybody.